It is night, and you are here again. The traveler returns, as they always return, to the dark, to the quiet, to the place between the world you know and the world that is waiting. Lost Worlds for Sleep opens a door tonight. And this door is different from all the others. It is lighter, more alive. The wood is warm beneath your hand, smooth and sun-bleached. The color of honey, the color of marble in the afternoon light. It smells of something extraordinary. Salt. The particular salt of the Aegean Sea. Sharp and clean and ancient. And beneath that, thyme. Wild thyme growing on the hillsides, released by the heat of the day, into the cool of the night. And something else, something that has no name, the smell of marble, of stone that has been warmed by the Mediterranean sun for 300 years and is giving that warmth back now. In the silence, in the dark, like a gift. Beyond the door, a city is breathing, not quietly, not like Rome, not like Egypt. Athens breathes differently, with a particular energy, a restlessness, an aliveness, as if even in sleep. The city is still thinking, still questioning, still reaching for something just beyond its grasp. Tonight you are going to Athens, not the Athens of today, not the Athens of ruins and tourists, and photographs taken in the heat. The real Athens, the living Athens, the Athens that existed at the absolute peak of human civilization, when the ideas that still govern your world were being born for the very first time. The year is 430 BC. Pericles leads the city. The greatest statesman the ancient world has ever known. Under his guidance, Athens has become something that the world has never seen before and will never quite see again. A city where ordinary people have a voice in how they are governed. A city where the pursuit of beauty is considered as important as the pursuit of power. A city where a man named Socrates walks the streets every day, asking questions that no one has ever thought to ask before, and changing everything forever above the city. On its great rock, the Acropolis, and on the Acropolis, the Parthenon, newly built, still perfect, its marble so white, so luminous that at night it seems to generate its own light, as if the building itself is alive, as if it knows what it is, what it represents, what it will mean to every human being who looks up at it for the next 2,500 years. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath in. Feel the warmth of that sun-bleached door beneath your hand. The smell of salt and thyme and warm marble and the Aegean night. Push it open slowly. The night air moves over you, warm and alive, carrying the smell of the sea from somewhere not far away. You look up, and there it is, above everything, above the city, above the noise and the argument and the beauty and the extraordinary human life that fills every street below. The Parthenon, white and perfect against the stars. Athens is waiting, and the night has only just begun. Walk with me. You are standing at the base of the rock, looking up. The Acropolis rises above you. 200 meters of solid limestone, carved by wind and time, into something that feels deliberate, something that feels chosen, as if the rock itself knew that something important would one day be built upon it. The path winds upward, steep and worn smooth by 300 years of feet, citizens and priests, philosophers and poets, soldiers and slaves, all of them climbing, all of them looking up, all of them feeling what you are feeling now. That particular feeling of approaching something that is larger than you, larger than any one person, larger than any single life. You begin to climb. The stone is warm beneath your feet, even now, even in the dark. It has stored the heat of the day. The way all good stone stores heat and gives it back slowly through the night, like a slow, patient gift. The city falls away below you. As you climb, its sounds becoming quieter, its lights becoming smaller, until the city is just a constellation of small warm flames spread across the plain below, like a reflection of the sky above. You stop halfway up turn and look out. The view is extraordinary. Athens spread before you. In every direction, its streets and its markets, its temples and its houses, its thousands of lives, all of them asleep now, or almost asleep, breathing quietly in the dark and beyond the city, the sea, the Aegean, dark and vast and glittering, under the stars, its surface moving slowly, as it always moves, as it has always moved, since before the city was here, since before the rock was named, since before the first human being stood exactly where you are standing now and looked out at the water and felt whatever it is that human beings feel when they stand at the edge of the sea at night and understand for a moment how small they are and how extraordinary at the same time. You continue climbing through the propylaea, the great gateway, its columns pale and luminous. In the moonlight, you pass between them, and the world changes. The noise of the city disappears completely. The air changes, becomes cooler, more still, as if the gateway is not just an entrance to a place, but an entrance to a different quality of being, a different quality of attention. And then you see it for the first time, up close, the Parthenon, and everything you thought you knew about beauty becomes insufficient. It is not what you expected. It is more. Much more. It is not large in the way that things are large when they are merely big. It is large in the way that music is large, that a perfect sentence is large, that a moment of absolute clarity is large, filling more space than its physical dimensions suggest. The marble is white, but not cold white, warm white. The white of something alive, the white of the moon, the white of a thought, just before it becomes words. You walk toward it, slowly, the way you walk toward anything that you do not want to rush, that you want to approach with the full weight of your attention. The columns rise above you, 46 of them, each one slightly different, each one hand carved by someone who cared enormously about getting it right, about making something that would last. You reach out and touch one of the columns. The marble is cool and smooth, perfectly smooth, like something that has been touched so many times that all the roughness has been worn away, leaving only the essential, only the pure, only the thing itself. You stand between the columns and look up at the pediment. The sculpture's still fresh, still painted, still telling their stories in full color. Red and blue and gold, vivid and alive. In the torchlight, the gods of Athens, looking down as they always look down on the city below, on the people who built this for them. Sit down here between the columns on the cool marble. Let your back rest against the stone. Let the Parthenon hold you. The way it has held everyone who has ever sat here. In the dark, looking out at the city below, looking up at the stars above, feeling exactly what you are feeling now, that it is enough to be here in this moment, in this body, on this earth. Under these stars, it is more than enough. It is everything. Walk with me. You leave the Acropolis slowly, with reluctance, the way you always leave. Something that has moved you deeply, without warning. You carry something of it with you. The coolness of the marble still on your fingertips. The particular quality of silence that exists only up there, above the city, above everything. You descend the path back into the warmth of the city, back into the smell of olive oil and wood smoke, and the particular richness of a city that has been lived in intensely for a very long time. You walk north through narrow streets, whitewashed walls on either side. Pale and luminous in the moonlight, doors closed, windows shuttered, the city asleep, or almost asleep. There is always someone awake. In Athens, always someone thinking, always a lamp burning behind a closed shutter. Someone writing or reading or simply lying awake with a thought. that will not let them sleep. Athens is that kind of city. It produces that kind of thought. And then you arrive at the Agora, the heart of the city, the place where Athens is most itself. During the day, this space is extraordinary. Thousands of people buying and selling, arguing and philosophizing, governing and gossiping. All of the human life of Athens happening simultaneously in this one open space under the open sky. But now, at night, it is different, completely different, empty, silent. The stalls are closed, the merchants gone, the philosophers dispersed to their homes, to their couches, to their dreams, and in their absence, something else becomes visible. The space itself. The pure open space of the Agora at night. Enormous and quiet. Under the stars, you walk into the center of it and stop and turn slowly, taking it all in. The stoa of Zeus on one side, its columns pale and still. The temple of Hephaestus on the hill, its roof catching the moonlight. The altar of the 12 gods. At the center of everything. The point from which all distances in Attica are measured. The literal center of the world, as the Athenians understand it. You walk to the altar and stand beside it. A small lamp burns there, as it always burns, day and night, without interruption, a flame that has been kept alive for longer than anyone can remember, by people whose only job is to remember that some things must not be allowed to go out. You stand in the silence of the empty agora, and you feel it, the presence of all the voices that have spoken here, all the arguments, all the ideas, all the questions that have been asked in this space and have never quite stopped echoing. What is justice? What is beauty? What is the good life? What do we owe each other? What does it mean to be human? These questions were asked here for the first time in this space 2,500 years ago, and they are still being asked because no one has ever fully answered them, because some questions are not meant to be answered. They are meant to be lived with, carried, turned over and over in the mind, in the quiet, in the dark, like this. You find a low step at the base of the stoa and sit. The marble cool beneath you, the agora open before you, the Acropolis visible above, the Parthenon, white and luminous against the stars. A cat crosses the agora slowly, without hurry, its eyes catching the moonlight. For a moment, two small moons looking back at you, and then it is gone into the shadow, into the dark, into the Athens that exists beyond sight, beyond knowing. Let your breathing slow. Let the emptiness of the agora enter you, not as loneliness, as spaciousness, as room for something that has been waiting for exactly this, for the quiet, for the dark, for the moment when the noise stops and what remains is just you and the stars and the ancient questions that have no answers, only the asking. Walk with me. You are still sitting in the agora when you hear it. Footsteps, not hurried, not slow. The particular rhythm of someone who walks because walking helps them think and cannot stop thinking long enough to stop walking. A figure appears from the direction of the Kerameikos, the potter's quarter, where he was born, where he has always lived. He is not what you expected. He is short, stocky, with a broad, flat nose and eyes that seem too large for his face, eyes that miss nothing, eyes that see everything. He wears a simple tunic, the same tunic he wears every day. He owns almost nothing, wants almost nothing except this: the night, the empty agora, the space to think without interruption. It is Socrates. He does not see you. Or perhaps he does, and has decided that you are the kind of person who deserves to be left alone with with their thoughts. For now, he walks to the center of the agora and stops and stands very still, looking up at the Acropolis, at the Parthenon, white against the stars. He stands like that. For a long time, not moving, not speaking, just looking, just thinking. The people of Athens know this about him, that he sometimes stands like this, for hours, completely still, lost in a thought so deep that the world around him simply ceases to exist. They find it strange and a little frightening and completely fascinating. You watch him from your step. This man who has never written a single word, who owns nothing, who charges nothing for his teaching, who has no school, no building, no institution, just himself and his questions and the willingness to ask them anywhere, to anyone, without fear, without apology, without ever pretending to know the answer. When he does not, he has said that the only thing he knows is that he knows nothing, and the people of Athens cannot decide whether this is the wisest thing anyone has ever said, or the most infuriating. Perhaps it is both. He turns and walks toward you and sits down, not beside you, a little away, on the same step, giving you space, the way a person gives space, who understands that space is sometimes the most generous thing you can offer someone. He says nothing for a while, just sits, looking at the same stars you have been looking at, and then he speaks quietly, almost to himself. He says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." And then he is quiet again for a long time, as if the words need space around them to breathe, to settle, to become what they are. You sit with that. The unexamined life is not worth living. You have heard these words before, perhaps many times. But here, in the agora, at night, sitting beside the man who first said them, they mean something different, something more, something that goes all the way down into the place where the real things live. He looks at you. Those extraordinary eyes, calm and curious and kind, above all else, kind. And he smiles. The smile of someone who has sat with the great questions long enough to be comfortable with them, to find them not terrifying, but companionable, good company for a long night. You are examining your life, he says, right now, in the dark, in the quiet. That is enough. That is more than enough. And then he stands and walks away. Back into the dark. Back into the city. Back into the Athens that exists beyond sight, beyond knowing. You sit for a long time. After he has gone, in the empty agora with the stars and the small flame at the altar of the 12 gods, burning steadily, as it always burns against the dark. Let his words settle into you. The unexamined life is not worth living. You are living a life worth examining. You are here in Athens at midnight, paying attention. That is enough. Walk with me. You leave the agora and Socrates and his words that are still settling into the quiet places inside you. You walk south, back toward the Acropolis, but not up. Not this time. Around the base of the rock, along its southern slope, where the hill curves gently into something extraordinary. The theater of Dionysus, the oldest theater in the world, the place where theater itself was invented, not improved, not refined, invented. Here, on this hillside, be these people 200 years ago, before this place existed. No one had ever sat in a theater and watched a story unfold before them and wept or laughed or felt the particular sensation of watching another human life and recognizing with absolute certainty your own. The theater is carved into the hillside, 17,000 seats, rising in a great arc around the circular stage below. The orchestra, where the chorus moves and sings and tells the audience what to feel when their own hearts cannot find the words. At night, it is empty. Of course, the seats of marble, silver in the moonlight, row after row after row, curving upward into the dark. You walk down to the front, to the priest's seats, the finest seats in the theater, reserved for the priests of Dionysus, each one carved with the name of the priest who will sit there during the great festival. You sit in one of them, in the front row, and look out at the stage, the circular orchestra, empty and still. In the moonlight and beyond it, the city, Athens, spread before you. In the valley below, its lights, its darkness, its sleeping thousands, all of them dreaming their own stories. Tonight, you think of all the stories that have been told here. The tragedies of Sophocles, the comedies of Aristophanes, the great works of Aeschylus, stories of gods and mortals, of pride and its consequences, of love and its complications, of the impossible choices that human beings face when the world asks too much of them, and they have to decide what kind of person they are. All of those stories were told here first to audiences who had never heard anything like them, who sat in these seats and felt their hearts break and be put back together in a slightly different shape, the way all great stories break your heart and put it back together in a slightly different shape, a better shape, a more open shape, a shape that has more room for other people's pain and other people's joy. The wind moves through the empty theater, gently, like a breath, like the theater itself, breathing in the pause between stories, between one play ending and the next beginning. That particular silence that exists in a theater after the last word has been spoken and before the audience remembers to breathe. You are sitting in that silence now, the silence after all the stories, the silence before the next one begins. Your own story. Still unfinished, still being written, still finding its shape in the dark, in the quiet, in the space between what has happened and what will happen next. Look up at the Acropolis. From here, it is perfect. The Parthenon above, the theater below. Beauty and story, stone and voice, the permanent and the fleeting, side by side, as they have always been, as they always will be. Let the silence of the theater settle around you like a cloak, like something warm and protective. The silence that knows all the stories that have ever been told here and holds them gently. All of them, including yours, walk with me. You leave the theater behind. Its silence, its empty seats, its stories still echoing in the warm night air. And you walk south, away from the city, away from the Acropolis, down the long walls, the great walls of Athens that stretch from the city all the way to the sea. 5 kilometers of solid stone built to protect the road between Athens and its port, between the city and its lifeline, the road between the walls is wide and quiet at this hour, almost empty, just the occasional cart moving slowly in the dark, wheels on stone, the sound carrying far. In the silence. But as you walk further south, something changes. The air changes. First, that particular heaviness, that particular richness of air that is approaching the sea. Salt and fish and tar, and the particular smell of wet rope drying in the night air, and then sounds, the creak of wood against stone, the slap of water against hull, the low voices of men working in the dark, and then the port itself, Piraeus, the greatest port in the ancient world. You stand at the entrance and look out, and the scale of it takes your breath away. Hundreds of ships at anchor or tied to the docks, their masts like a forest against the night sky. Merchant ships from Egypt and Persia, from Sicily and the Black Sea, from every corner of the known world, all of them here in this harbor at this moment. Their cargoes of grain and wine and silver and silk and olive oil and ideas, waiting for morning. And among them, the war galleys, the triremes of Athens, long and low and deadly. Their bronze rams just visible at the waterline. The ships that made Athens great, that won the Battle of Salamis, that turned the tide of history, that kept the world from becoming something else entirely. You walk along the dock, the wood warm beneath your feet, the water dark and alive. Below you, moving with the slow breath of the harbor, in and out, in and out, like something sleeping, like the harbor itself is breathing. Workers move around you, quietly, purposefully, loading and unloading, checking ropes, mending sails, preparing for the dawn, when the harbor will wake fully, and the business of the world will begin again. A sailor sits on a coil of rope near the water's edge, looking out at the sea, his face weathered, his eyes distant, seeing something that you cannot see. Some harbor he has left behind, or is sailing toward. Some sea that exists only in his memory. or his imagination. The sailors of Athens have seen everything, every coast, every island, every storm, every calm, every shade of blue the Aegean offers. They carry the world in their bodies in the particular way they walk, as if the ground beneath them might at any moment begin to move. You sit beside the water at the edge of the dock and let your feet hang over the dark water below. The Aegean stretches before you, south and west, into the dark, into the beyond, its surface moving gently, catching the moonlight and releasing it in slow, patient silver flashes. The sea has been here since before the ships, since before the port, since before the city on the hill, since before any human being stood at its edge and looked out and wondered what was on the other side, and decided to find out. Let the sound of the water enter you. That slow, patient, ancient rhythm of the sea against the dock, of the harbor breathing in and out, in and out. Match your own breath to it, in and out, in and out. The rhythm of the sea, the rhythm of sleep, coming now slowly on the tide. Walk with me. Something has changed. You feel it before you see it. Before there is any evidence at all. Just a feeling, a shift in the quality of the dark. Athens at this hour is different from Athens at midnight. The dark is different. It has a different weight, a different texture, as if the night itself knows that it is almost finished and is gathering itself for the last time before it lets go. You have left the symposium, its music still in your ears, its questions still in your mind. What is beauty? What is the good life? What do we owe each other? The questions that Athens has been asking for 200 years and will go on asking for 2,000 more. You walk back through the streets. They are almost entirely empty now. Even the last lamps are burning low. Even the last voices have fallen silent. Athens is asleep, truly asleep, in the way that cities sleep, in the deepest hours, when even the most restless have finally surrendered to the dark. You find yourself walking back toward the Acropolis, as you always return to the thing that called you when the night is deep enough and the mind is quiet enough to know where it needs to go. You do not climb, not this time. You sit at the base of the rock on a stone bench, worn smooth by centuries of people doing exactly this, sitting at the base and looking up at the Parthenon, white and perfect against the stars. The stars are extraordinary tonight. The Athenians know them all by name, by story, by the particular meaning that each one carries they navigate by them. On the sea, they plant by them. On the land, they tell time by them. In the night, the stars are not decoration for the Athenians. They are information. They are guidance. They are the writing of something larger than human. On the ceiling of the world, the first bird calls. From somewhere in the olive trees, on the slope above you, a single clear note, high and clean, like a question asked into the dark, without expecting an answer, just the asking, just the sound, just the voice, insisting on itself in the silence. And then another answers from further away, and another. The dawn chorus beginning, one voice at a time. The way all great things begin, one voice at a time, one question at a time, one idea at a time, until the whole world is singing. The sky above the eastern hills has changed. The deepest black of midnight has softened into something that is not quite black, not yet blue. Something that exists only in this hour, only in this precise window of time, between the end of night and the beginning of morning. The Athenians have a word for this light. They always have a word for the precise thing. They call it the light of the gray-eyed goddess. Athena, the patron of their city, whose eyes are exactly this color, this particular gray, between dark and light, between night and morning, between what was and what will be. The stars are fading now. The ones nearest the horizon first, then gradually the others, withdrawing as they always withdraw when the light returns. Not gone, never gone, still there, behind the blue, still burning, still present, just waiting, as they always wait, for the dark to return, for their moment to come again. The Acropolis above you is catching the first light. The marble of the Parthenon, changing color from the white of moonlight to the pale gray of pre-dawn, to something warmer, something that is almost gold, almost, not yet. The gold will come. With the sun, when the sun is ready, when the night has done all that the night can do, Athens is beginning to stir, just barely. A door opening somewhere. A dog. Hearing something. In the pre-dawn quiet, the first cart moving somewhere in the city, its wheels on stone. The sound of a world preparing itself for another day, another extraordinary day. In the most extraordinary city the world has ever known. Let your breathing slow. Let the changing sky enter you. That slow movement from dark to light, from night to morning, from the end of one thing to the beginning of another. You are almost there, almost at the place where the night releases you, where sleep opens its arms and takes you in, where Athens becomes something else, something that will stay with you long after the night is over, long after morning comes. Walk with me one last time. Walk with me. The city is waking, but you are not. Not yet. Not quite. There is a moment that exists only here, only in this city, only in this last breath of night, when Athens is both things at once, asleep and waking, ancient and eternal, gone and here, completely, impossibly, here. You are sitting at the base of the Acropolis, in the last hour of the Athenian night, and something is happening, something quiet, something that has no name, the way the most important things never have names. Athens is entering you, not dramatically, not suddenly, the way all the best things enter, slowly, without announcement, through the breath, through the skin, through the soles of your feet, on the warm stone of the Acropolis, through the smell of time, still in the night air, through the sound of the sea, still in your ears, from the harbor, through the words of Socrates, still settling into the quiet places inside you, the Acropolis, the Agora, Socrates in the dark, the theater and its silence, the port and the breathing sea, the the symposium and its music. All of it is inside you now. All of it is yours, not as a memory, not as a dream, as something more permanent than either. Something that will still be there. When you wake tomorrow, in the quiet moment between sleep and consciousness, when the world is still soft, and you will whisper, without knowing why, last night, I was actually there. The birds are singing now, all of them, their voices filling the pale pre-dawn air. The sound of life insisting on itself, as it always insists, as it has always insisted since the first morning, since the first human being stood in this air and heard this sound and understood that the night was ending and the world was choosing to continue. Your eyes are heavy, the good heavy, the heavy that comes after a night fully lived, after an Acropolis climbed, and a Socrates listened to, and a theater sat in, and a sea watched, and a symposium overheard. The heavy of a body that has been fully, completely alive. Let your eyes close. Let them close now. There is nothing left to see. Not because there is nothing beautiful. There is everything beautiful. But because you have seen enough. More than enough. You have seen Athens at its most alive, at its most itself, at the precise moment when it was most worth seeing. The Parthenon stands above you, as it has always stood. patient, luminous, saying nothing, but meaning everything. Let its light enter you. That white, luminous, ancient light that has been here since before you were born and will be here long after the stars are almost gone now. Just the last few, holding on at the top of the sky, where the dark lasts longest. They watched over Athens all night, as they always watch. And now they are going into the blue, into the light. Let yourself go there too, into the blue, into the light, into the place where the night keeps you safe and warm and held, while the world turns, while the morning comes, while Athens breathes its eternal, restless, brilliant breath. Athens is not gone. Not tonight. Not for you. Not ever. Not while someone is climbing its rock. In the hours when the world is quiet. Not while someone is sitting in its theater, listening to the silence between stories. Not while someone is walking its streets at midnight, carrying the questions that have no answers. Athens lives in the only place that anything truly lives, in the minds of those who pay attention, in the hearts of those who care enough to walk its streets at midnight and stay until the dawn. You stayed. You were here. And Athens will remember you. Sleep now. Traveler, sleep. The night has given you everything it has. The Parthenon is still standing. The Agora is still breathing. The sea is still moving. The stars are almost gone. And somewhere in the deep, warm, dark, of the night that is ending, a door is opening, your door, the one that leads, not to any city, not to any street, not to any world, but to the place inside you where everything is possible, where everything is safe, where everything is simply still. Go through it. Go through it now. And when you wake, Lost Worlds for Sleep will be here, waiting for you, as it always waits, every night. A new door opens. Tonight it opened onto Athens, the city that changed the world, the city that is still changing it. Every time someone asks a question and refuses to accept an easy answer, tomorrow night, another door, another world, another journey into the ancient dark. If you want to be there, subscribe to Lost Worlds for Sleep. So the next door opens for you automatically, without you having to look for it, without you having to wonder where we are going next. We will come to you in the night when you need us, when the world is too loud and you need somewhere quiet and old and beautiful to rest. We will be there sleep well. Traveler, you were actually there?